Hello, everyone, and welcome. Well, first of all, happy Monday to everyone. And secondly, welcome to Coffee with Ori. I am your host, Ori, and joining me will be Dr. D. You will hear her voice. Uh, she will also be posing questions and answering questions. We are catching up. This is the second part of what we did during the beginning of the week, which was the beginning of last week or the middle of last week, which was, how do you know the difference between God's voice and the universe's voice, and how do we communicate with God, spirits, angels, guides, the universe? So today we'll be talking about that, and I will have a special meditation, which I will look for now. So I want to thank you all that are constantly showing up on Monday. I want to thank you for showing up. If you're not, we'll give you a couple of seconds, and I know that you will log on because you always do. This is quantum. Okay, this is what I want to play today. Go hunt. Turn off the volume; it's a little too high. So, hey, Jason, how are you? Hope all is good. Okay, that's the one I want to use. Okay, so to all of you that are tuning in today, maybe you weren't I think it was on Wednesday, because you guys, it was early. It was something that we did early, and we were talking about the signs of how we can determine whether it is God's voice or the universe's voice. And I think that it's very interesting that we as spiritual beings, mediums, and hey Eddie, how you doing, brother? We as mediums and spiritualists, we tend to gravitate more to the universe, and we believe that the universe, well, we don't believe, we know that every living thing in the universe does speak. The trees speak to each other, the plants speak to each other, the birds speak to each other, sea life speak to each other in voices that we don't understand. But it doesn't mean that we don't feel the vibration, because we do feel the vibration. So is it a God vibration or is it a universal vibration? That is the question that we are posing, and that is the question that we would like people to ask, what it is that they feel or what it is that they want to know about the situation. I know Dr. D and myself, we were talking last week about certain things. Hey, Sadia, good evening. And hello to your husband as well, to Lance. Um, so how would you, as a human being, how do you yourselves tell if it is God's voice or it is the universe talking to you? Anybody?
Is there an
Coffee.
echo now?
No, there's no echo.
Cool, cool, cool. Okay, everything. So I put that down there. Now, how to determine? You said
Everything has a signal.
right. Well, I said everything has. Well, I put vibration. So and everything does send out a signal.
Yeah.
So the Earth sends out a different signal when it's unhappy, from earthquakes, if we look at it like that, to tornadoes, to animals send out signals when their what is it? Their environment is being disrupted and they're happy by going from one place to another. When our ancestors traveled back and forth, they used to actually
Hey, Jeanette.
different places, move from different places because it would be more fruitful, it would be more helpful to them in one part of the earth. Like they pack up and they try. You know what I mean? Or
Well, the Native Americans knew when when the winter was coming, so they prepared months in advance and dried food, dried salted meat, and cured furs so they could travel. So when they went from the cold, they went to the hot, and then when it was time, they went back to where they were originally from.
right.
But even but
And
even but even cavemen did that.
okay. Yeah. Well, animals, when they know there is something erupt, they will move from that area and disappear. And birds, same thing. They will fly away. You ever been in the forest and it's really super quiet and you don't hear even the insects? They have moved because of danger. And it's a signal letting them know that is in danger. It's a vibration. It's, I think, you know, communication of being open minded sends out a signal, danger, danger. Ours is our belly, our intuitive. You need to get out of there. Something tells you you're walking down a dark alley. You girl, you better get out of there. Boy, you
Yeah,
better not go down there.
but
So
how do we know that it's how do we know when it is vibrational universal energy versus God's energy?
well, for me, the universe communicates through things where God comes in to me. This is for me, comes into your mind and gives you a visual and start talking. It's like a malevolent, if you want to call it a malevolent voice, the calmness of the voice, the inner self of peace of communication.
Okay.
For me,
Yeah, that sounds fair. I think that most people who are spiritual use the power of divination to get answers from the omnipresence. And sometimes divination doesn't mean to divine with cards or with things. Sometimes a form of divination is just standing on the ground barefooted. And that's a way that you divine using the higher power of the omnipresence to touch your crown so that it can vibrate all the way down to your feet and you're able to see if something is wrong or something is right. Doesn't happen to everyone, but I think that the universe, like you said, the universe has something to do with the inner voice that most people call the God voice, which is in your belly. But I think that that God's voice is it's not completely God's voice as much as it is the Holy Spirit's voice, because I think if we were to hear God's voice, we probably would not have any ears left. But I think it's just an annoying like an annoying bite that happens in your head on a constant basis, and it repeats over and 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 over till you get it. And then once you get it, then it stops. And I think that's how God presents himself without physically presenting himself. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the way I see it. Okay. Hi, Kat. How are you? Hope all is well. Kat, today's conversation is about how do you know when it's God's voice talking to you or the universe talking to you? You know, some of us determine that the universe is that voice that's inside of you that talks to you, and that with God's voice, it's a more active voice in your head that constantly repeats over and over and over until you do the things. What do you think? What is your opinion on that? I'm waiting a little bit because I'm trying to give you guys opportunities to ask questions, and you guys don't seem to be asking questions. Niete is on here too. Yesteryear. I'm trying to get you guys to participate because you guys are not dumb. I think it's a feeling you just know. Okay? I think it's a good answer, but a little bit more specific would be nice, Kat, because you seem to one that always interacts with us. Do you think that God's voice is in your mind or in your feeling? If that is what you will consider God's voice. You're absolutely right, Eddie. It can be the same thing. It can be God and the universe, but the same thing. God created both. He created the universe and everything else. I believe the universe is more of a feeling than a voice. That's also possible. The universe does give you a feeling. And when I'm not sure, I ask God to reveal it to me. Well, that's the perfect way to actually do it, Kat. You always ask God to reveal things, and God always reveals them. He doesn't reveal them in feelings, though. He reveals them in your head, and you may be able to see if you, especially if you're designing something, and you don't know what you're doing at the moment. You don't know what you want to do, and you ask God to reveal it. God will put the design in your head, and you are able to create it. So, to me, that is the way that God communicates versus the universe. You know, and like Eddie said, why can't it be the same? You're absolutely right. It can be the same. The universal energy can be a big part of the omnipresence of something bigger. I think it is my heart. It's a voice that speaks to you, but you don't hear the voice, you just know. Okay, okay. I get that. And you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. It's not debatable because those things that you guys are saying are all valid things. So I can just see that, everything seems to be shifting, and there is a big shift coming, and it's a shift that's happening, and it's a frustrating shift, and it's a sad shift, and it's an emotional shift. There's so many things that are going on in the world right now and in our own personal and private lives that sometimes it becomes overwhelming, and we try by asking for advice, and we try to listen with not just our head but also with our gut, and sometimes we get the messages, everything is going to be okay, but I think as humans the fear that we live in is the problem. I think it's fear. This weekend was a very rough weekend for me because I'm not a crier, I'm not a baby, I don't feel like those things. It takes a lot for me to get there, but it was just something happening to me
Okay,
this
let me
weekend.
stop you there.
Yeah.
Can I stop you right there? What you said. If you cry, it's not being a baby. It's release of
No,
emotion.
no, I
So even if you
understand.
cry, okay, just oh wow,
Dr.
y'all
D.
interacting very good today.
Yeah, Dr. D, relax. Okay. It is not, it's just the way that I say it. I know that I'm not a child and I know that I'm not a baby. I think when you receive messages from God, it is more profound. Yeah, I agree with that, Sadia. I think that it is profound. But like I was saying, this weekend was a very emotional weekend. But again, I just don't, I don't really know what the process is because I'm not going to lie. I don't know. We talk about the process and I do respect it. And what I've learned from Dr. D is that, yeah, there is a process and I get it. And if someone is not a believer, neither experience it, they think you're crazy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. People tend to call you people crazy. People like us crazy because they believe that because we believe that we are moving in the direction that spirit, angels, or God, spirits, angels, or our guides are guiding us to do things. We are different, so therefore we're crazy. There's nothing crazy about us. Crazy is good. Crazy is good. When people think you're crazy, they stay away from you. But usually, the people who stay away from you are people who are not or should not have been in your life to begin with. So, do you agree with that, Dr. Lee?
Yes, everything is destined for who's supposed to be in your life at that time and moment, no matter how painful it is. Even being by yourself as you're going through a transformation. As you go for transformation, spirit and God will remove the people out of your life that are not going to be your best support at the time. And it's going to be a rift. It's going to feel like sometimes you are in a cocoon, you're by yourself, you're lonely, you're struggling, you're going to feel frustrated. You're going to have anger. You're going to have mood swings. You're going to get all these maybe buried emotions that maybe at one time you thought you removed, but they come back in full force. And Spirit is showing you how to deal with it on a different level, at a different situation, how to deal with it than when you did it before. So as you keep going through transformation, you change. It's like a caterpillar effect. A caterpillar goes in a cocoon and it nourishes, it eats, it stay in there, but it's getting all the nutrients it needs as it goes through its transformation. So as that is in life, that is what emotion as we're transforming. People are removed, and then sometimes we're put in the hardest situation to see how we're going to get out of that situation. Are we going to fall back to our old ways, our old patterns, our old relationship? Are we going to pull the old people back to us that have harmed us, that does not mean us very well in our life, but because it's comfortable? Let me rephrase that. Comfortable. We got so comfortable being in that position that we don't want to go through the other direction because it's new, and we fear the change we're not going to be able to control. And when we let go of the control, the fear, and walk forward fearlessly, many doors, many things, not how you like, again, like the show we mentioned. Sometimes we have a visualization of how we want to see things, even our growth. Well, I'm going to go spiritually, I'm going to get crowned, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get that, or I'm going to get baptized, and I'm going to be in this church, or I'm going to be in this organization, and I'm going to crawl up, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But it's how we're telling it's supposed to be. It might be for you, okay, you're in the church, and then you're a Buddhist, and then you might be a Mormon, then you might be into Kabbalah, and you might be all these different things to get where you are today, to realize who you are in your transformation in life. And Spirit has taken you there. God is okay. Well, you read a book. Some reading a book, verses, passages, God directs you in each direction to bring you to full circle of what you need and where you're going in life. And like I said, you're going to cry. You're going to stumble sometimes. You're going to bruise your knees and wonder why. Okay, you on your knees so much. I'd be like, why are you on your knees so much? Because I don't know what to do. As your body go through different transformation, you say, I no longer will be taking medicine. You know what? Your body's gonna get worse before it gets better. I've been there. And then you know what? Pain is so sharp, and you be like, you know what? I need to reach for that. But deep down in spirit will come and say, you know what? Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Meditate. Then say, you know what? When is the last time you said Reiki? When is the last time that you did a crystal healing? When is the last time you did an ionic bath? When is the last time you did a meditation? When is the last time you screamed and shout? When is the last time you've been in nature to show you what you're all about? That's what a transformation does. And when the universe speaks, they're speaking through different things. You'll see birds flying. Certain birds flying at that time is a message from you. Certain numbers, if you see repeatedly, 333, 444, 222, 1212, 1010, 1111, 11, at that time, at your situation, write that number down. If you see a bird and you're going through something and a bird happened to sit on your ledge, write down that bird or take a picture of that bird and look it up. If you're going through and you see different waves, there's a frequencies being given. You're tuning into universe, and the universe is saying, oh, hot dog it, let's go. They growing, let's get it. She got it, he got it, let's go, let's move it. Because they know that you got it. That's what it's all about.
On a person's note, usually around this time of the year, I become emotional. Well, you become emotional because you're a Cancer, like me. Your birthday is the day? No, the 19th is your birthday. So your birthday coming up, and it's I don't know what wrong with the moon. Healing and release helps to elevate the vibration and move it out of the exit potential and the separation. Uh, Eddie, I agree with the fact that you're saying that healing and releasing helps to elevate your vibration. I agree with all of that. But what I also understand and I also agree with is if you got work to do and you don't do the work, and you continuously looking for help and yet you don't do the work, then you don't really elevate. You stay stuck following your tail. So to me, when you are obedient and you do the things that you're told to do, coming from either an elder or somebody who's spiritual that can see what you can't see, and you don't do it, and yet you know that you should do it, and you find yourself in the same situation, how strong is your faith, really? How strong is it if you have to keep going to someone to tell you something that someone else already has told you umpteen times, and yet you're not moving forward? So, in other words, you're not listening to God's voice, you're not listening to the universe's voice, you're listening to yourself, which is the ego. And it has nothing to do with what's going on today because it's neither God nor is it the universe talking to you. It's a human being that gives you the foresight of what spirit gives them. They pass on the message. They give you things that you have to do. And if you don't do them and you don't follow directions, no matter how in tune you think you are, you will not be in tune. And you will not rise in what do you call that, in vibration. You will not rise. You will stay the same person in the same section doing the same thing over and over again and not growing. So God's voice is very prevalent. You can tell God's voice because God is very firm and he speaks to us through the universe in a way where he manifests things in real forms. He puts people in your life in real form. He does these things because he doesn't interfere. He just puts the idea in which way we need to go, but only when we ask for it. The universe, as far as the universe is concerned, the universe provides, the universe acknowledges you the way you acknowledge the universe. That the universe gives you um, pleasurable assets and economical assets just by a thought. Whereas when you pray, you're praying so that God can help you. But in reality, who are you praying to? And that's the thing that we need to really ask ourselves. Besides the difference between God and the universe, we need to ask ourselves, who is the one that's talking to us? Is it of good, or is it of bad, or is it both? Or is there a balance? Some
Okay.
people don't know.
You said good or bad. Now I'm gonna sneak in here a little bit. Are you ready for me?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Now, in my world, crazy it may seem, there's no such thing as good or bad. You know why? Because there is our perception. And again, that is judgment. And that going back to your previous show. So if you haven't seen it, y'all need to go look at it. It's a it's a judgment call. What makes something right? What makes something wrong? Because we each come here with a purpose and reincarnation to do something. So what we might see is wrong is actually right because they're paying a debt to someone to play the role, the character they asked them to play in their life. And it made them grow or made them stay or made them take a path. So again, for me, that's judgment, good or bad. There's no such thing in my world now. No
Well,
good, no bad. In
neither
my
in the
world.
neither in the Old Testament. Not even the New Testament. There is no judgment. People have used the Bible to create judgment, but there is no judgment. There is no judgment.
Correct.
No, there is no judgment because Scripture says that God shineth the good and the bad, and lights the light on the good and the bad, and He reigneth on the good and the bad. He's not judging because He created it all, good or bad. He created it, whether it's Lucifer or whatever. He created it. He created all of that. So whatever is happening in the world right now, our intuition has not been stronger than what it is now, and our faith, although it may falter, it will not fall because we are strong enough, and we are boys and girls that wear big panties and big underwear, and we know when to just sit and listen. And those who don't, there's no judgment behind it. It's just, it doesn't hurt to ask if you don't know. And I think that, like many people think, that there is a Trinity, and the Trinity is the Holy Spirit, God, and Jesus, and I don't know, because at the end of the day, Jesus was a Jew, and because he was a Jew, his own people turned against him. So I mean, that speaks volumes of people and the way that they are. So again, the question is, what is the God voice, and what is the universal law voice? And can you tell the difference between them both? That is a question. So if anybody will comment, again, I would appreciate it. Let me get up and get some water. I don't know, coffee. I want water. Go ahead, Dr. D, talk, say something.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that the universe is vast and it does has a voice where it speaks, but it speaks for me. Source being God, to me, omnipresence to others, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe in. I don't knock anybody's belief. That's not my thing. I believe source sends out a signal from the universe. And for me, the universe are different things and happenings in the universe, whether it might, which is a car accident, a building falling, um, a door opening, a healing. Those are things that I think the universe sends, or you might see what you think is an omniscient presence of a maybe an archangel. And another one which you might not think about is our ancestors coming back and communicating with us, not only in our dreams, but also in another state of communication right beside you. You might smell something. So I believe that God can send these universal beings into your life to help you. So you might smell roses or coffee or something that your ancestors ate to give you a message. And basically, they definitely talk to you while you sleep. That's what I believe. I believe, source is creator of all things in my mind. The universe was created by source. So it puts out signals to be there.
Okay. I actually agree with the same thing, Eddie. That's the book says those who wore the white robes were essence. The book
I'm
says.
not understanding that, Eddie. You're gonna have to
I
come
don't
correct.
understand that. What white robe you talking about? The Ku Klux Klan?
Come on, bring it, big bro.
What robe you talking about?
Now we're okay. The smell I experience. Sometimes I did not know
Uh,
it
I
can be
didn't
your
know.
ancestors. It can be all kinds of things.
I experienced that sometimes I did not know if your ancestors. Well, it could be. I mean, if you like, let's say you had a grandmother, and your grandmother was the only one in your family, cat, that used to like to sew and was into making her own clothes. And then all of a sudden, you came out like your grandmother, and then you may need help. Sometimes you may feel her presence, or you may smell the perfume that she used, and that pushes you. So ancestors are everywhere, but ancestors can only do but so much. The ancestors lived, so they lived a human life, so they help you. But there are super beings like let's say God and the angels or whatever that are not supposed to interfere. Yeah, I smell that too. My godmother used to call me sexy boy. The other day I was going through something and I heard my godmother call me. She called me sexy boy in the store, and I turned around and there was nobody there, but I could smell her perfume. So I know that it was her presence that was there. So, you know, we all experience presence of people that we know and of spirits that we know and the energies that we know. It's just a matter of making sure that everything that we do being precise. You found her birthday, okay, in the sewing room, in a piece of paper when I renovated. Yeah, that happens sometimes. And the thing is that once you acknowledge a spirit one time, the spirit never leaves your side. The spirit is always there. If the spirit is of light and the spirit doesn't need light, and the spirit just wants to just hang around and help you, the spirit is gonna help. It's gonna hang around. It's gonna help you the best way that it can. because that's what spirit does. So we have to learn that there are two different voices that can be uh, there are two different voices that can become, one voice can be a vessel and the other one can be the message in the vessel. When we first moved here. Oh, when you first moved there. Okay. Well, that's beautiful though. That experience must be beautiful. I mean, I have my aunts and uncles that sometimes come, and my grandfather, whom I loved. So whenever I'm going through something, they appear. I know everything is going to be okay. So I just know that if you're listening to something, yeah, like you said, it's very comforting. It's very comforting when you know that you're being watched and you're being helped by something that's higher than you. Doesn't mean that it's God. It just means that it could be your ancestors, or it can even be spirits from your past life that come into this lifetime. There's a lot of scenarios of what is what and what could be what. So you just have to be open to everything.
What about, let's also talking about when the water comes to you, when the water pulls you, or the waves are shallow to the waves being deep. That's a communication of the universe communicating with you with the waves. Or
Yeah.
even a tree growing towards your house versus or plants that when you walk in and they know you're coming home, they blossom. They open up, they start sprouting, they start growing. That again, that's the sign of the universe for me communicating with you for a reason.
Hmm. But it's also vibrational. Remember, we were talking about trees are vibrational.
Yeah,
Everything is vibrational. Everything sends a message. Trees can send a message from one tree to another, to another, to another, to another. And we may feel like we're being watched all the time, but that's because we are being watched all the time.
correct.
Spirit is going to watch us. Now, I have found a meditation that it is to attract miracles of abundance from the fifth quantum dimension. Okay, so we are connecting to the fifth frequency, which is the golden frequency, 5. Okay, so I want you guys to take a deep breath, as deep as you can take it, and I want you to release it slowly. I want you to do it again. And then I want you to just close your eyes, and I want you to listen to this meditation, because this meditation is to remove whatever blockages, whatever blockages can be blocking you.
Google
And
the essence gospel of truth. John the Baptist was raised as one. Ate lotus and honey. That's their staple. Okay.
yeah, Eddie, Google the essence gospel of truth. John the Baptist was raised as one, ate locusts and honey. Yeah, but Jesus also ate locusts. When the plan is, Jesus ate locusts, and at that time, very many people did not eat meat at all. Very many people ate, a lot of grains and stuff like that. And the animals got along together, and it wasn't crazy. Remember, keep your eyes closed, and I'm going to play this meditation for you. You know that I will send it to you after class. This is considered the golden frequency of abundance and vibrating on the fifth dimension. So listen, close your eyes, and release whatever is not good for you. Strengthen the immune system. Helps the blood cells. Reduces the emotional impact of pain. So just listen. Dear cat, birds are amazing creatures. I'm going to excuse myself for a couple of minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining Coffee with Ori. We are running slightly over time, and I guess our lovely hosts are as in tune
No, I'm
with
back.
everything. Uh-oh, here he is.
Okay, I'm back. I was just checking out some stuff. I hope that you guys like the meditation. This meditation was frequency for abundance, but also the vibration to bring you, excuse me, to bring you to another dimension. Because what I find that's happening to us is that a lot of us are stuck in a different dimension, and things don't seem to be happening to some of us quicker than others. And where some of us go through the emotional roller coaster of cause and effect, others are stuck in the cause but not in the effect. So I'm going to send this out to you guys. It's 10:10. You guys have a lovely evening. Light and love like always. I'm going to send you this meditation, and we will speak next week. Or if Dr. D decides to do something during the week, then we will get involved. I'll speak to you guys next week.